Good morning, children. Today we are going to start a new chapter in history, that is the First Empire. Now, let us know how this empire was established in the Indian history. The period from 327 BCE to 325 BCE, which marked the beginning of the campaigns of Alexander for conquering India. Now, because of constant battles of Alexander, his army became tired and weakened also, so they refused to fight. And this gave opportunity to Chandragupta Maurya to overthrow the last Nanda ruler and establish the Mauryan Empire under the guidance of his able teacher Chanakya or Kautilya. Now, how do we know about the Mauryan Empire? So there are different sources that let us know about this Mauryan Empire. They are the book Indica written by Megasthenes, who was a Greek ambassador. Next was Arthashastra, which is written by Chanakya or Kautilya, who was the teacher of Chandragupta Maurya. Then we also come to know about this period through the rocks and pillar edicts of that period as well as the coins of that time. Now, who were the different rulers during the Mauryan Empire? Which were the rulers who ruled during this time? We will study them one by one. The first one is Chandragupta Maurya. He ruled during the period of 321 BCE to 297 BCE. He was the first ruler of the Mauryan Empire or the Mauryan dynasty. He was guided by his teacher Chanakya. He was a tough warrior and a virtuous ruler who built a vast empire and ruled for almost 25 years. Next came Bindusara from 297 to 273 BCE. Chandragupta was succeeded by his son Bindusara, who assumed the title of Amrit Ghata or Amrit Ghata, that is the slayer of the foes. Foes means enemies. He defeated 16 more rulers and expanded his empire across the whole continent. Only Kalinga was left out from his empire. Next was his son of Bindusara, Ashoka, who was Ashoka. We also come to we also know him as Ashoka the Great. Now he ruled from 268 BCE to 232 BCE. Ashoka was one of the very great or the greatest emperor in the history of India, as we all know. He took the title of Devanam Priya or Priyadarshi. Devanam Priya or Priyadarshi. He took the throne after Bindusara's death. Bindusara was his father, Ashoka's father. After his death, he came to throne in 273 BCE. Now, we all know that Kalinga was important, but it was left uncaptured or unconquered by the rulers, the Mauryan rulers who had till now ruled during the Mauryan period. They were unable to conquer this land or this state that was lying unconquered under their rule. So, but it was very important for them to conquer Kalinga. Why? There are several reasons for it. It was an independent state left to be conquered by the previous Mauryan rulers. It controlled the land and the sea routes to the southern India. It was an important center of cotton textile. And not only this, it was also a very powerful kingdom viewed as a threat to the Mauryan Empire. So it was very important for them to conquer this particular kingdom. Now, Ashoka, we all know, was a great or the greatest ruler in the Indian history. So, he naturally was able to defeat the Kalinga ruler and conquer this land, and ultimately he was successful in conquering Kalinga also. But the war of Kalinga had such profound effect on Ashoka that certain things happened in his life after the war of Kalinga. The Kalinga War became a turning point in the life of Ashoka. Ashoka was horrified by the bloodshed and the loss of life in the war. He left warfare and became a follower of Buddhism to serve mankind. This profound effect it had on him after the war of Kalinga ended. This picture shows how Ashoka was devastated after the war of Kalinga and he gave up fighting and he took up to Buddhism. He took away a path to serve the mankind henceforth. Now, Ashoka's Dhamma is what the policy of Buddhism that he followed after renouncing his kingmanship, or now he was no more going to fight. He had given up warfare. He was not going to fight anymore. So, what were the policies of Dhamma that he had taken up? The policy of Dhamma did not involve any worship of gods or offerings of sacrifices, but only virtues of human conduct. Now, Ashoka took measures to spread Dhamma. Not only did he himself follow Buddhism, but he wanted people also to lead the path of Dhamma. So, how did he propagate Dhamma? How did he spread? Propagate means how did he spread Dhamma? Ashoka propagated Dhamma by himself, becoming a follower and a role model. He himself practiced Dhamma and he set an example before the people how to follow it. Now he commissioned several edicts at different parts of his empire. He appointed special officers, who were called Dhamma Mahamatas. These were appointed specially to spread Buddhism inside the country as well as outside the continent, as well as in other different countries like Syria, Greece, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Egypt, Pakistan, Nepal, and Afghanistan. In all these places, Ashoka tried to spread the policy of Dhamma. Now, what are the main principles of Ashoka's Dhamma? It is again a very important part. The different principles of Ashoka's Dhamma are truthfulness, then respect for all the religions, then ahimsa or non violence, obedience towards all the religions, kindness towards one and all, treating all creatures with compassion, helping others through charity, giving gifts to monks and Brahmins, self evaluation to keep a check on one's deeds. Now, what were the different welfare measures? Not only did he practice the policies and principles of Dhamma, not only did he propagate them, Ashoka also was a very benevolent king. He became a very benevolent king and he had a very kind heart after he took up Buddhism. So, he devoted his life in the welfare and well being of the people, not only in his kingdom but also outside his kingdom. So, what measures did he take? He looked after construction of good roads, planting of trees, construction of rest houses, inns, digging of wells, construction of hospitals, then construction of hospitals. Ashoka toured his empire to meet people and to understand their problems. Now, modern administration is again very important part. How did the modern administration was handled by the rulers of the Mauryan Empire? The Mauryan administration had four main divisions, that was central administrations, which consisted of the king and his council of ministers. Next was provincial administration, where the empire was divided into five provinces, each looked after by a chief, a Kumar or a Aryaputra. The provinces were further divided into district and further the districts were divided into villages. Now, there was another administration, that was military administration. It comprised of the the army, that was which comprised of infantry, cavalry, elephants, chariots, soldiers, and the soldiers were paid very good salaries, and it also comprised of a well organized navy system. There was a spy system also managed by the ruler of the Mauryan dynasty, which was organized for the safety of the empire. Now, how did the administration run? Where did the money come to run such a vast and large empire? It ran through the land revenue and the taxes on the mines, forest, pasture lands, and cattle, etc. Now, this revenue helped to generate this helped to generate revenue for running the administration. Now, the city of Patliputra was the capital city. It was the main city during the Mauryan administration. It was the prime center. Patliputra, as we know, the capital of the Mauryan Empire. This city was very beautiful. Uh, how do we know this? We know this through the book written by Megasthenes. That is, the book name is Indica. Uh, he wrote in the book that the city was surrounded by wooden wall having 64 gates and 570 towers. It had a moat around it to keep it safe from the enemy attack. Now, ultimately, we have come to the end of the Mauryan Empire. So, how did this vast empire came to an end? There are several reasons given for the fall of Mauryas, like the rulers became weak and incompetent to control such a vast and large empire. The fall of administration system. The administration system became inefficient and weak. Now, there was also less revenue generated to maintain such a large empire. They could not collect as much money they needed for maintaining such a vast army. Ashoka's policy of non-violence ultimately did what led to the fall of the Mauryas, because it became an open ground for the people, the rulers attacking from all angles, and then it became ultimately um the rulers who were attacking from outside, the weak rulers gave up to them, and ultimately it landed to the end of the Mauryan Empire. So thank you, children.